everybody. Welcome to BAM by any means, KYHRC's podcast, where we speak boldly about the things, all things harm reduction, all things community. And today, I'm so excited to introduce who my co hosts are and who our special guest is today, that's right on the scene because I don't know how to work any of this stuff. And Ryan has abandoned me yet again. No, I'm just playing. He has went on for a training this week, and I'm here with these amazing, beautiful women. Again, you all know Miss Bree, all the way from New Jersey. Say hi, Bree, to everybody.
Hi, from New Jersey.
And we have none other than, go ahead, Bree, go ahead and introduce who we have,
we
the
have
fabulous.
we have the one and only, the incredible, the world renowned Joy Rucker, who I lovingly call the Beyonce, because anytime you are with Joy, expect a literal line of people to talk to, and you
A
kind of have
little
to push her
line,
through.
a long line. You cannot talk.
A
You can't
long.
talk to Joy when we out and we're doing work. Like, you just have to move.
Can I take a picture with you? Which, incredible, but like we have the Beyonce in here.
We
Well,
do.
Beyonce who?
thank you.
I know, right?
Thank
So,
you. I don't know what to
listen,
say.
this is such a treat today. I want everyone to take a second and like and share the stream so we can get people in here for this amazing conversation. Again, if you think last time's conversation was lit, if you think it was deep, if you think it was bold, then this conversation is taking it a step further. Okay, so share. I'm about to share right now on my device because you know how long it takes me, you guys. I'm putting in here. Please share the stream. We are on YouTube as well. So if you have people who are not on Facebook, you can absolutely take them over to our YouTube station, and I'll put that on my page here shortly. Um, what else do we have? Another thing I want to do is make sure I remind folks here locally in Louisville that today, this evening, we have our kid making party. So
Ooh.
please join us in community. We're down at the LRCC. I will drop the location in the chat later in this podcast so that you can remember to come. If you want to chat with us, chat with my team members, I will be there. We're going to be making kits anywhere from our fentanyl test strip kits, xylazine test strip. We have some new test strips that we'll be talking about because there's other things out there, other substances that's being added to the plethora of substances inside of the everything that people are using. Let me be real quick, real honest. I was up really late last night. I had a friend of mine who needed to go to the hospital. So I have been up all night. So I'm drinking coffee and trying to make sure that my words make sense. But I know y'all show me grace on there as we start this conversation. So hopefully everybody has shared. I see people starting to join. I wonder if Jose gonna really join us today. Yep, I called
He
him now.
always joins
Right.
the bochincha, like he says,
So,
which is gossip in Spanish, but it doesn't have a literal translation in English. It's like in English, it would be like to talk shit.
and thank you for doing that and letting us know because
Yeah.
I did not know. I appreciate that. Um, so let's kick it off. So this month has been Women's History Month. I just like to, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it like Black Women's History Month and Women of Color History Month. All of our beautiful melanated sisters out there. It's been our month, right? And we've been diving into some very serious discussions because, of course, we're going to celebrate and uplift all the things that women have done around the world, not just here in the United States, but around the world. Um, at the same time, we need to hold both the grief that goes in this space of being women in leadership. Um, we're going to continue with this conversation being the last conversation of the month, talking about truth, right? Leadership and reflection, community accountability from the harm reduction lens, because that's the way we focus here, and love centered conversations, right? No, this ain't a call out conversation, but it is an absolutely call in, right? We don't have to call people out, but naming hurts and harms is absolutely what we're supposed to do. It's our responsibility as leaders. So, um, now, Black women, as we said before, as we talked about, are often expected. And this is, I'm glad you are here, Joy, because we get to really kick the ball around with you. Um, Black women, we discuss Black women being expected, you know, to save everybody. But nobody really, really teaches us how to hold each other accountable without destroying. And as we were leaving out, I mean, we had a heavy first conversation, and me and Bree honestly didn't even really get. We just had the tip of the iceberg. We didn't get to really dive deeper in there, but we want to take this a step deeper, right? What does it look like when the hurt and the harm comes from people that look like us? And how do we really hold that space? So Joy, I'm just gonna kick it to you real quick, and I know Bree will chime in. When you think about Black women in leadership, especially right now, because you have the lens of, I know you're young and stuff, but you have some time and experience and wisdom with your beautiful self, um, of knowing what Black women in leadership has looked like across decades, right? But right now, what are you seeing and what are you feeling?
It's what I have discovered in the last couple of years is through my own spiritual growth, is that because we're black and black women does not mean we're on the same level. And so it does emotionally, spiritually, um, you know, we're just not on the same level. And somehow it's this expectation because we're black women that we will be able to work together. And
Mm,
I don't think that people really talk about the colonization, the trauma from colonization that still impacts us if you
mm,
have not done the work to understand how you will act out the same colonization structure with each other if you have not done the work yourself.
whoa. Joy didn't come in here to play, did she, Bree? Go ahead. I see you ready.
That was deep. That was deep. And I think that's something that we oftentimes overlook. Um, how we've been molded to recreate, and we that's what we do. We recreate the same harms that we see
Mm,
outside. The only difference is that we don't talk about them. Those white people will be quick to call you out, sue you, you're out, put a statement out. But when it comes to us, we keep it in house because we know that when something wrong is done by one of us, we take down all of us. Is a reflection of all
mm,
of us.
But I think that's inherently the message that we have been brought up with.
mm,
Like I don't know about you guys, but If there something happened on the news that was horrible, my mother would say, "Ooh, I hope it's not black people."
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like we are responsible for all black people and their actions, and we're not.
Mm.
We're not. There's in the white. I mean, we're seeing this now in our political structure. White people, not all white people are taking responsibility for the president and his decisions.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So why do we do that? Because we still operate with that slavery mentality
Mm.
that, we're colonized and we're enslaved by a certain mentality that if one of us fucks up, we're all going to get whipped.
Mm.
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 And so and people don't think about how that trauma just just is passed down, and it's not spoken. It just is
Mm.
in our behaviors. So for me, it's like, yes, I'm not going to take responsibility for other black people or other people's irresponsibility or bad behavior just because I'm another black woman. No.
Joy, as you say that, and you really just walked right into the next question. I like to say I'm moving into wisdom. I know my gray hair is showing it, but my age is too. But
I
I
got a
feel
wig
like,
and can't see mine.
right, like I'm moving gracefully into wisdom. But how did you get to that point where you are just like,
Right.
I don't need to, I'm not going to take responsibility for your actions, and it doesn't define me, Joy, as the woman as I am. How did you get there? Because I think that's where a lot of black
Mm-hmm.
women in their mid 40s, us that are late 30s, early 40s, where we're like, wait a minute, what's this new way of walking? What am I dealing with?
I think for me, it was, well, first of all, I have to say that my first experience or awakening about being black was when I went to Ghana
Mm.
and I experienced blackness in a way that I had never experienced it in my life. And, here in this country, we are still impacted by colorism. And so when I went to Ghana, I realized that nobody in the United States is black enough.
Mm.
Is if you go to Ghana or you go to an African country, they're not light skinned, they're not mixed, they're black. So here in the United States, we continue to use colorism to separate
Mm.
amongst us. So when I went to Ghana and I had that awakening about what it really means to be black in this world and to be a black woman in this world, it required me to do some a deep spiritual dive.
Mm.
And how can I be in this world and still do what I need to do and not take on everybody's opinions or thoughts or criticisms about how I walk in the world? Am I all right with how I walk in the world?
Mm.
Is my family all right how I walk in the world? Are the people that love me and support me all right with how I walk in the world? That's what matters to me, nothing else
Mm.
outside of that.
Wow. Wow, I love that, and I appreciate you speaking on that because again, as Bree said, and as I have said, and have we, as we talk about off of camera, um, no one teaches this, right? We're taught, like I can say in my household, I was taught how to be a strong black woman. I understand that, and I consider even you all to be strong black women, and some of the people that I've worked with, that is what I would see in the workspace, right? Especially in harm reduction, where I told people the first time I met you and met you guys like in Puerto Rico. That was the first time as a black woman in systems work, social services, where I could actually sit back and shut up. And I could actually go, whoo, wait a minute. Here's here's these other melanated women who know more than me, who can help me see. So when you see all of that, and then you start doing the actual work though, and you start to uncover and pull back, and you start to see, wait, slow down. Everybody is not aligned in this. Even in the space where we say we are the collective and we're moving forward, everybody's not. So then it's like a heartache. So my next question is, people do one or the other. I've seen over the past few years, over the last 5 years, what I've seen happen is the quiet response versus the direct. So the quiet withdrawal, avoidance, right? Is quiet withdrawal accountability or avoidance? What's your opinion on that?
Uh,
And that's to both of you all.
Silence equals death to me.
Okay. And I agree. And then here is what I, as someone coming up and someone who admires you and loves you and like your Beyonce, what would you say? Because like to me, it's a very fine line between walking away. When is it okay to walk away, like to protect your peace and your integrity? Because what I've been seeing is that because a lot of people choose to walk away from certain situations, it doesn't get addressed. People don't get held
Mhm.
accountable, and so the silence, just love you from here, creates more harm for, I would say, either the community at large or like the next person that takes that position. So
Mhm.
how, because I can't be the only one that struggles with walking away. I have a save a hoe complex.
Well, I don't have a save a hoe complex. So let's just start there.
Right.
That's daddy traumas from me,
Wait a
walking
But
minute.
away. My
I
Listen,
daddy
let's be
walked away.
clear.
So now,
I don't have that syndrome. So for me, anytime I've walked away, it is very clear why I'm walking away.
Okay.
Now, I cannot be responsible once I say something that is true and people don't want to do anything about it or are afraid to do anything
Mm,
about it. That's not my problem.
yeah.
I
okay.
have done my part. And that's the thing, is that, saying the truth and being on the right side of the issue is the thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Now, what other people decide to do or not do about it is based on their own ability to handle the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so now, how would we be able to call someone in with
Wait a
love?
minute. You jumped to the end. Don't
Oh, my
don't do
bad.
that. You just ready to go to the solution. We gotta unpack this because what happens is,
I don't think that's the end though. But
but but
okay.
but if we say how do we do it, we gotta first start with acknowledging the fact that that's not easy, right? The
Mhm.
reason why people don't. Let's start there. Walking away and saying, okay, I'm gonna step away. I've made my statements. I've said what needed to be said. No one's listening, so I'm gonna walk away. That is accountability in my opinion, right? And that's also a boundary.
Yes.
What I'm talking
Right.
about is when people won't even acknowledge the wrong and the harm that someone's doing it and just turn their back.
So
That
I gotta,
that's
God.
that's that's where, and that's what gets under my skin.
Well, I think that, I don't, I think that people that don't or are unable at that particular time, they just haven't had the same kind of reflection or the same self reflection about what keeps you from saying the truth. What are you afraid of?
Mm.
What, like, of course, it's so layered. It's like relationship, loyalty, friendship,
Opportunities,
opportunities, all of that.
proximity to power.
Everybody has all of that going on, and you never know who has what going on, right? So it's never like, oh, we're all in the same boat, and this is what we're all thinking, that
Right.
the mission is bigger than all of us. We're not all thinking that, because some of us are thinking about opportunities, some of us are thinking about loyalty, some of us are thinking about, I don't want to rock the boat.
Mm.
So all of that is is played out because there hasn't been the work as a group to get on the same page and get honest about what we're really doing here today.
Mm. Go ahead, Bree. I know you wanted to come in and chime in after.
Oh, no, what I was saying is that, like, at least I'll speak for myself right now in this season that I'm in. I think when I think about leadership and like black women in leadership, I think it's more about discernment more than anything, right? Like holding your integrity, um, and being that voice that's usually celebrated as long as it's not disrupting anything, right? As long as you're not asking the hard questions, and it it's no longer about that proximity to power. I can say that one of the women that I have reached out to multiple times, and that has always had my back, is Lisa from the Patterson Healing Collective, right? Because I've seen her navigate things that, honestly, to me, I would have been on the news, locked up, somebody would have gotten hurt. And it's being, she taught me to hold her, she holds herself accountable before she holds anybody else accountable.
Mm.
And
Exactly.
that's something that I learned through her, that before I can't talk about holding others accountable or women in leadership if I'm not holding myself accountable first, and how I react, what I say, and what I choose to walk away from. That's something that also what you said is what she said multiple times to me of, sis, you gotta just sometimes just hold that L and keep going.
Yeah.
But it's hard because you feel like you're walking away. I haven't gotten to Zen. I haven't gotten there yet, but it's rough.
Well,
Yeah.
I
It's
guess the question is, what are you walking away from?
Mm.
Because for me, I can walk away from a situation, but I'm not walking away from me,
mhm.
Mm.
ever.
And
And
that's honestly, Joy, that's where I come in. For me, and I love this. I love that we're sharing. It reminds me of how I get to that place with myself. Um,
Mhm.
I want to make sure that my compass is in alignment, right? Um, I absolutely agree with self accountability first. And usually, before I walk away, I have to correct. I mean, I just walked away from an organization in a role myself, and I had to correct this first, me.
Mhm.
And once I corrected me, I was like, oh, yes, not in alignment. This is not in alignment. Now, do I grieve? Do I feel bad? Do I feel sad? Do I feel heavy and weighted? Well, that's a part of grief. And one thing that I have learned is a superpower for me that I've discovered through retreats and through therapy is that I can hold both joy, joy and grief. I can hold both of those.
Oh,
That's
Joy.
yeah. And
Yeah.
that's a superpower because it takes a lot to be able to say both of these things are true. I can still feel sad and weight of leaving something that I feel passionate about and at the same time say I'm making the healthy decision for myself. So that's one thing. Um how I'm getting to the point and what I hear, what I'm discovering with Joy talking about this is that I'm still going to have to deal with the vulnerabilities that show up in me. Um, I think I often want to be able to walk away and be like, yeah, nah, I'm a bad bitch. Like I can
Right.
handle it. And I'm realizing that, oh, that's the wrong way to look at this, that I'm gonna ever walk away from something. If I care about someone or something, so you can talk about even relationships, right? If I care about something so bad, I'm going to feel whatever ache that is, and I have to accept that. Like that is, I accept that I'm going to feel it, not hold on to it forever, but I'm going to feel it in that moment.
The loss and the end of something, there's always some grief.
Mm-hmm.
There's always some grief. And so, yes, you have to walk with both because you can't be in this life without having that kind of um, enthusiasm or commitment to the work and not have disappointment and not grieve.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it just goes hand in hand because we're dealing with other humans. And
Absolutely.
humans disappoint each other because we have expectations and some of them are unspoken that we have expectations that people are going to live up to a certain standard, and then when they don't, we get hurt, we get angry, we get mad, we get sad.
Okay. Joy, you done opened up a can of worms because now you done brought a truth in that we don't, again, we don't acknowledge these things, right? Expectations. That is part of the accountability piece. Did
Yep.
I walk in here with these unspoken expectations?
Expectations.
Man,
Yep.
wow. And I'm gonna be
Sometimes we
honest.
set ourselves up for failure because I do
I,
that.
I do. I'm gonna be honest. You know what my what is it? Achilles heel or my sweet tooth or what's the it is us chocolate people. Y'all, I walk in and be like, yes, we all gonna feel this way. We all gonna move in this way. I walk in like that. And I think that is the first thing that happens. Like, and I don't think it's a space where I should just be like, no, I shouldn't feel positive about things. No, but I do walk in with some elevated, I can own that. I walk in with elevated expectations. Even in my recent situation, people ask me, well, what did you think? Or why did you do that? Or why did you move that way? And I was like, because we black. They were like, whoa. So you didn't unpack that? You didn't think? And I had to own it. And people look at me, they're like, you admit it. I said, well, that's the first step to healing is I have to admit. I mean, I take things from the
Mm-hmm.
communities of AA and NA all the time. That first stage is you're going to have to admit to some things. I can't change anything or move in a different way if I don't admit where
Right.
that came from, right?
And I think that, as people, we have
Mm,
expectations, and we never we're never honest about them. Not,
Hmm.
well, there's
And that's the problem.
some that you can say,
Hmm.
and then some that you're afraid to say because you'll feel vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that being transparent all the way around is the healthiest thing to do. My sister once told me, she said, whatever whatever the right thing for you to do for you is going to be the right thing for the situation.
Mm.
Mm.
And I have always stuck with that because it's so true. If I take care of me and I'm true to me and what my truth is and my integrity, whatever the situation is that I'm dealing with, if I stay true to that, that's going to be the best outcome for me and the situation.
Wow, that's real.
Yeah.
That's real. So I'm gonna ask this question. We
But
are
you're gonna have to
moving.
be very
Oh,
aligned
go
for
ahead.
that.
I mean,
You have to be grounded because I
yes.
think that I agree with that, but if you don't know, if you are not in the right mind frame, what may be right for me in this moment is absolutely not the right thing for the situation.
But
Well,
that's good too to
Right.
know where you're at.
yeah. I mean, I think
Because
that,
crash out.
like I didn't wake up like this. Like
You don't?
no.
Even
I,
Jackie asked, you don't? You
I
seriously
have not
don't?
always been like this. I'd be two guns blazing, like shut the fuck up,
Right.
like I'm not hearing none of this shit, whatever. But because of personal, my own personal commitment to me to be a better person and more grounded spiritually, I've had to be more reflective. And
Mm.
I've had to go outside of myself to understand what that means and what that entails in order for me to live like this.
Yeah.
So it just didn't come to me, and like one day I was just like, oh, well, I'm grounded. Hell no. No, like I have to work at this shit, man. And people will tell you, that knew me in the beginning of the movement, they were like, oh no, she'll kick your ass in a minute. And it was like, for me in this working in this movement, and then in the very beginning, there weren't that many black women.
Mm.
And, so there was always a fight. There was always a fight to be at the table
Mm.
and to be heard and to represent other, people that didn't have a voice. So, I've learned that I don't always have to kick the door down now.
I appreciate that. I really do. Um, so as we're talking about it, and I think you've actually laid some things out. I think it was Maggie who asked. This is on our Facebook page and YouTube, Maggie. So you can come back. I know you said you're working, doing your outreach thing, doing harm reduction in the drop-in center. So uh,
Yes.
yes, yes.
Oh,
So
I
thank
don't miss those days. That
right.
never stops. My heart goes out to you, Maggie.
Yes. So thank you for joining. Please share everyone else. So you mentioned things. I just want to make sure that I capture this for folks. Joy, can you share? And again, it might be repeating what you said, but I want people to be able to go back to this moment. What does accountability rooted in love look like to you?
The truth.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
It looks like the truth. I mean, I, how can I, one of the things that I learned is I have to, I have to start with myself, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so if I'm unable to recognize the nature of my wrongs, what they're grounded in, then I cannot approach you with love.
Mm.
I have too much. I have to know the exact nature of my wrongs. Like, what's motivating me to do this thing that I know is not okay?
Mm.
So I have to go one step deeper to say, okay, this is the exact nature of my wrong.
Mm.
So, what is driving that? Is it ego? Is it fear? Is it, whatever it is? And then address that. But I think that, we've grown up in a society and sometime in harm reduction where people get confused about holding people accountable for bad behavior as not being harm reduction.
Mm.
And that in the harm reduction principles, it says we are responsible for our behavior and we are expected to pay the same consequences as anybody else. We don't lower the bar. And that's what I have a problem with, is that we don't hold people accountable. We lower the bar, like we don't expect them to be better than that.
Yes. Oh my.
And
That's
bullshit.
Joy Jose about to snap on this because that's all he talks about. He
Even
said,
Benji, you hear him?
listen, I see him. He said that's what motivated him with the meeting people where they're at. He was tired of people just saying that and leaving
Mm,
people right there. So
yep.
I think that, and that's part of our next month conversation, bringing Jose into that conversation is this concept that my Henry, our former chair for our board here, came back from Bogota and shared about a quote that he heard: "The soft bigotry of low expectations."
Hmm.
And he said that is where harm reduction is like lingering, where people are
Yeah.
allowing. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
we're
we
just,
we want to so bad not be like our counterparts that we
mm-hmm,
actually end up becoming worse because we
yes,
don't hold. And I'm not just talking about like in leadership, right?
mm-hmm,
I'm talking
yeah,
about in harm reduction organizations altogether.
mm-hmm,
Doesn't matter how many, like, you don't hold people accountable for coming to work. You don't hold them accountable for doing their job. There's so much leeway that I know I've been seen as a hard ass, but it's like, no, I want you to thrive and I want you to grow. And so I'm going to hold you accountable to be the best you can, because the moment that you leave here and you go somewhere else, and I hope you do, and you go take over, they're going to laugh you out because you don't have that same work ethic.
mm,
And just because we're in harm reduction and we're black does not mean that it's like it's cool to be lazy.
mm-hmm.
So the accountability starts from the bottom, from outreach, from coming in all the way through leadership, because that's why we don't have leaders that can lead, because they've never been held accountable. The
Mm.
bar has always been lower, like Joey says.
I think that we forget what the mission is.
Oh, remind us,
The,
Joy.
the mission is to provide services to people that are struggling. And so, if you don't have that kind of motivation
Mm.
and you're driven by something else to do this work, like ego, prestige, money, then you're always going to fall short.
Mm-hmm.
You're always going to fall short. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and there you will never hear anything about me that references lack of integrity.
No, you are so right. Yeah, when she said
Yep,
long time, we talking about Black Panther Party, y'all. I seen the pictures. We talking about
yep,
all that. Like that's the long time. That Joy is one of our founders of different programs and projects in this movement. We're gonna make sure that we share these next webinars she's on. We don't have a strategist right now on social media, but when we do get one, I need you all to lock in, especially people about movement, right? Because I asked people who are part of all movements and community to join these conversations. Harm reduction is the collective. It's an approach and it's a way that we move. It's not just because people have it twisted. It's only drugs. No, 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 no. This
no,
is a movement of life and transformation.
it's a
You
And if
social
know?
we water it
justice.
down to drugs,
Yes,
we're doing
Yes.
ourselves a disservice.
Well,
exactly.
nobody talks about the social justice aspect of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that gets lost. And, we have watered down harm reduction in a way that is almost unrecognizable to me, with the exception of certain places. You know, when I ran HEPAC, we would have these conversations about being Black, about being in our community, and how we were we were being of service to our people.
Mm.
And that's what was important for us. That it wasn't a paycheck, because we weren't getting paid that much, but it was about, are we saving lives? Are
Yeah.
we helping the quality of our people's lives get better?
And I
That,
think that's what we moved away from. And I
yeah,
think that's why we're seeing people turn or transform into bad actors, right? We're gonna get to Jose had a couple of things he said on here and questions. I just right as we're moving right into that, Jose. I just wanted to give Brie, I'm about to pick on her because you have a gem right here who can, real quick, let me take a real quick pause. Boy, this podcast by any means came out of the idea between me and Henry. We call ourselves Ebony and Ivory. He's white, I'm black, and we've been connected in the work of social services for over a decade. We had people often see us work together and be like, "How are y'all so cool? How'd you get that way?" Because a lot of people know me and whiteness. There has to be something else happening for me to be that close. Um, and it's the conversations we had. So we were like, let's just start putting them on the podcast and have real conversations, no fluff. And we had some tough topics. He'll call me out if he saw me show up in here and be like, "No, you ain't feeling all right. What's going on?" We did that because people wanted to know how we got to this place of being able to speak up or speak boldly about things. And so that's how we got here. So I'm about to put Bree on that spot because this is the opportunity by any means to ask this question because you have someone who can walk you through there. And because I am aware of our connection and the things you're navigating, this question says, have you ever had to confront someone you cared about in community? And so,
Yes.
yes. So as you share in that pause, can you walk us through your experience and where you're at with the support of Joy being here for this moment, and it's for people to see how we actually work through stuff. We have these conversations in real time, y'all. So
Okay. So yes.
her and her baby.
Sorry, y'all. It's hard to find a babysitter for an 85 pound or 95 pound German Shepherd. So yeah. I mean, I've had to do that in different organizations, but I would say that or in different times. I say the one that sticks out the most is probably what I've been navigating recently, which is the having to call people out or hold people accountable. At first, I'm big on, let's keep it in house. Let's talk about it together. Let's figure out what the problem is and what part am I playing in this. Because not in a disrespectful way, right? But at somewhere along the line, I gave you the impression that you could do that shit to me, and let me tell you that this ain't that. So what part did I play in that? Um, and then when things go nowhere is when you have to start calling on your leaders, your support team, the people that have taught you everything. Where sometimes you have dual relationships,
Mm.
especially in a field so small, and like Joyce said prior, it's hard. I mean, I can't imagine how hard it was back then, because it's even hard now to see black women in leadership positions,
Mm.
right? For folks to trust us enough for that, or for us to trust ourselves. It's not even about other people trusting us, because I feel like we have the opportunity. Sometimes we it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy where we purposely ruin it
Mm-hmm.
because it wasn't going to go anywhere anyway. um and the problem is when the community doesn't want to call people back in, when it's
Mm.
easier to turn the other cheek in a way where you're walking away, right? Because I can call someone, I can call my circle in, but then if my circle does not feel either comfortable or equipped to call that person in love, right? Because when you care about someone, you correct the wrongs. Like a baby. I don't have kids. My dog, when he's doing things like he's doing now, hey Benji, don't do that.
Right.
You correct him because you love him, because you know that if he bites someone else outside, he's gonna be put down,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so that's the kind of love that we have to take, approach that we have to take, I think, within our communities, with our leaders, with our organizations, with our friends, just in our daily life of correcting it. It doesn't have to be a conflict in a negative way, because I personally don't find conflict to be negative. I think people
Right.
make it negative. I think conflict is healthy. Conflict is how you move forward.
You know, I I'll tell you the story. I was asked by my very best friend to come and help him do a project. Now, he was like my brother. I knew him for 30 years, right? And and he asked me to come and do this project with him. And we had, conversation about, hey, I'll come, but I can't come if you're like in chaotic use.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be too crazy for me. No, 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 no. I'm good. I get there and he's in chaotic use. And so I'm like, okay, all right, let me work with this, right? How are we going to do this? And as we continued to work together, it became clear to me that his chaotic use was interfering with his job responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had several frank conversations about his chaotic use. Now, I'm not talking about just use. I'm
Right.
talking about chaotic use.
Chaotic, right?
To make that absolutely clear. Um, and we had several conversations and we created several interventions, you know, around the work. I changed his scope of work, I
Mm.
don't know how many times. And it finally got to the place where he stole something from our landlord.
Mm.
And the landlord was asking us to pay for it. And as soon as he said it, he said, "Hey, this is missing." I knew who it was, right? So I went and I was like, God damn, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, the fuck are you doing? You stole this shit, you know? And he was like, "Oh, no, I didn't. It was just in the back hall." I was like, "No, you came in at night and
Mm-hmm.
took it when nobody was there. So now you have to give me the keys to the
Mm.
building. You can't come back to the building." And then some other stuff happened. And so I went to the board and I said, "Look, he cannot work here. It's too chaotic. People don't want to come to work. They don't know what's going to
Mm.
happen." And the board supported me
Mm.
because they were not my friends. They were there for the mission,
Mm-hmm.
and they understood that nobody was bigger than the mission. And they supported me with firing him.
Mm.
Now, that was the hardest thing I ever had to do
Yeah.
because he was my best friend. And I did it because he was not going to take down an organization that was there to serve people.
Wow.
So
That's deep.
people accuse me of not being a harm reductionist. And I was like, you know what? You you can say what you want about me, but I'm gonna keep this program running for the
Mm-hmm.
people that need it.
That's
This is not about this one guy. He is not
Right.
bigger than the mission. I don't care about his legacy.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
That's
to
heavy.
me, it's about, who I do this work because I do this work for my cousin Danny, my best friend Anita, Peggy, and Dwight. They all died either from AIDS, overdose, or being killed in the streets because of their drug use. So I've always understood that that was my mission in life,
Mm.
was to continue to work for people like them that did not have access to what they needed when they needed it.
Mm-hmm.
And so nobody else matters to me when it
Wow.
comes to that mission. Nobody. If you're not doing the right thing, you have to get out of my way. And that's just how I move. And and
And
I
that's integrity.
It
yeah,
is.
I'm still doing it. So
Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing.
Thank you for
I
sharing
hope
that.
that you guys lean in and hold on to that piece. As I'm sitting here, I feel inspired and empowered to continue because I know I'm on the right path. I had to make some hard decisions, right? And I always think about the fact that, and I know my mama probably watching this, but I get to practice with her. That little lady, that's Kabibi. That's the name of her truck, Kabibi, and it means little lady. Um, Being a retired Chicago police detective, we have quite the conversations, and there are conversations where we had to navigate, and I had to tread lightly. That's my mother because
Mm.
we have
Mm-hmm.
the community aspect which lives in me, and I have the family aspect that lives in me. But what I've learned is that that connection of conversation is what drew me closer, even with my mom, and being able to love her and see her as my mom, not as the blue and white, the officer. the detective, a part of a system. And I say that because there is no other relationship out here that I put above that one. So when I'm navigating difficult situations, I often sit back in my time of reflection and think about, okay, I had the toughest conversation with my mother around Breonna Taylor. I'll never forget that conversation because I remember her law enforcement mindset went first. But it took a conversation back and forth for us, for her to see, wait a minute, wait a minute. What happened to that young lady was wrong. But it took conversation. And I said, so if I can have that kind of conflict with the blood, with someone who everybody say, you just like your mama. Yes, I am. I'm the oldest daughter. So if I can do that, I can do that with anyone.
Yep.
We in community have a responsibility. And if you're a leader in this community, that charge and that challenge is to you. And I'm saying it like this because there's a lot of hurt and harms that are happening in our community with women in leadership, black women specifically, because we're centering that today.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say, you're not alone. I know from my own experience, I'm not going to speak for Joy and Bree, but just listening to them, when it's time for you to be accountable to self and to others and then to our community as a whole, it can feel isolating at times.
Yep.
And Joyce just shared what happened. You know, you're not a harm reduction, you're not this, but that having that compass, whatever your center is, mine is my compass. That's what I call it. If I'm my alignment means that I can feel my compass doing that is steady. That is me in alignment. And when I'm off, then I have to make a decision that's self-defeating at that point. I want to share that nugget. I'm about to pass this mic around because I need for these beautiful women to share their nugget as we close out this Women's History Month. Because we're not just making space to celebrate our wins, we're also making space for our truths. So I want to share the mic and whatever is on your heart to share with our people as we have a few more minutes. It always goes by so fast when we're in it. To share for our people who are navigating tough conversations, tough spaces right now in this moment.
Who
You
will
know,
go first? Okay, Joy.
for me, it's you know, the truth will set you free. The truth will set you free.
Mm.
Oh, and for me, I think it would. Well, not I think. For me, it's if I die right now, what am I comfortable telling the like standing on when I'm with God? Like, did I do everything? Did I pass the test? Did I hold people accountable? Did I hold myself accountable? So if today is your last day, if
Mm.
Iran comes and bombs us and takes us out of our misery, what are you okay with standing before the
Mm.
creator or whatever power you believe in and saying this this is how I handled it?
Mm. Woo.
Because that to Pentecostal, to me, that defines as you getting in. You gonna. I know for a fact they're gonna ask me some questions outside, but I can stand on everything on every action and how I handled, at least to the best of my ability. So, what's that for you?
Mm,
Mm.
yep.
Listen, y'all, Joy, listen, you really it I be smiling like y'all, we are around we're living legends. We have had the privilege and y'all should see the room at times, man. It listen, you should see the legends we are around. And having Joy today engage in this conversation. This will not be the last. I love the fact that Synergy speaks and the universe is moving us around, that we're doing these things that you
Mm,
dreaming about and talking about and that you put out and planted seeds for. So I'm happy about that. I said my part, Jose. I'm gonna
The
say this
compass.
as we close out. Community isn't just about standing beside each other, you guys. It's about standing up for each other,
yep.
even when it's uncomfortable. because accountability is not betrayal,
Nope.
it's care.
Yeah.
And care is
It's
harm.
love.
It's
It's
harm
Love.
reduction.
love.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's harm reduction.
It's
There it is.
It's
All right.
called
and if y'all see me
radical
slip,
love.
please hold me accountable.
Right?
Yes.
Don't let me go over the mountain.
Right.
I love you guys. Thank you so much. We are out of here, you guys. See you next month.